Now that I've ridden almost every roller coaster at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom, I think it's time to rank them up. So this is every coaster at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom ranked from worst to best. Before starting the list, I do want to note a couple rides that will not be included. Firstly, I have not ridden Khan, the Vekoma SLC, but from every report I've heard, it would be the worst coaster at the park and coming at last place on the list. This coaster's reputation is absolutely horrendous, so I don't necessarily look forward to riding it, but I'm sure I'll get on it at some point. Nonetheless, it will not be on the list. Another ride that will not be on the list is the Flash Vertical Velocity, because this coaster was closed in my most recent visit and I have not ridden it. This ride is not open so much, and the future seems murky relating to this ride. In fact, when I was there earlier this year, the trains weren't even on the track, so that's weird. Point is, if I haven't ridden it, I'm not going to put it on the list. Number 8, Roadrunner Express. This is the park's kiddie coaster, and while I haven't ridden it in a very long time, I don't remember it being particularly good. Since it's small and since it's kinda rough, I'll put it at last place. Number 7, Boomerang Coast-to Coaster. This is your classic Vekoma Boomerang model. So with that, you got 3 inversions taken forwards and backwards. This ride has some pros and cons. On one hand, the drops are fun and the inversions have a lot of force to them. But on the other hand, this is not a smooth roller coaster at all. You will definitely bang your head or neck a little bit on the restraints. Which honestly is kinda too bad because as I said, this coaster has some really intense maneuvers and you really do feel the G's on this attraction. It's a fine ride, I'd say it's perfectly average. For me personally, it does hold a special place in my heart because it was the first coaster I ever rode with an inversion, but anyways. Number 6, Cobra. This one's kinda special to me too because it was the first coaster I ever rode, but that's besides the point for its placing. Cobra is a family coaster built by Zier, and while it doesn't do anything crazy, I think it's a great little stepping stone attraction. I think it checks all the boxes. Smooth, comfortable to ride with kids and adults, ridiculously long train, what else can you want? If you said that there aren't many forces on this coaster, you'd be correct. But still, I think it's a fun ride. And I can say from experience that as a kid, this is a very fun roller coaster. So, with that being said, it does its job perfectly. Every park needs a coaster like this, and Discovery Kingdom has a good one. Number 5, Sidewinder Safari. This new for 2022 spinning Wild Mouse is honestly a lot of fun. The laterals to start aren't that great, neither are the drops, but the second half is really where this ride shines. This is where you really start to spin, and there's a couple of fun dips in the second half as well. Before this season, I thought Discovery Kingdom's coaster lineup as far as family coasters go outside of Cobra was kinda lacking, but now with Sidewinder Safari, I think it has improved vastly. It's a ride that, unless you have a problem with spinning, pretty much anyone can ride and enjoy, so I think it was a great addition to the park's coaster collection. Is it anything crazy? No. But is it fun? Yes, and that's really what matters at the end of the day. Up next, I'm going to include a defunct ride, Roar. This wooden roller coaster is built by GCI, and I rode it in its second to last and last years of operation. While I don't remember the experience particularly well, considering it was a pretty long time ago, I can tell you that I did really enjoy the ride. Was it bumpy? 1000% yes. This was one of those coasters that really showed me what roller coasters could be like, and I was really scared the first time I rode it. Some of me wishes this ride was still here, and Discovery Kingdom lacks a wood coaster now, but the ride that replaced this coaster is much, much, much better. That ride is still to come. Number 4, Batman the Ride. This is just your classic S&S free spin, but it's the only one I've been on and I really enjoyed the experience. These coasters are kind of unpredictable. In my 2 rides, I saw that you could really get a different experience. The first ride I got wasn't too wild, but the second one was absolutely insane, so it just depends ride to ride. In some ways, it's kind of fun though, not knowing what you're gonna get on every experience. Six Flags did add way too many of these free spin coasters. But because there really isn't anything like it on the West Coast, I think it's a completely fine addition to Discovery Kingdom. In fact, I like it. A lot of people visiting the park will have never ridden anything like it, which is kind of cool. But even though I enjoyed it, it cannot crack the top 3. Number 3, Superman Ultimate Flight. Here's another very popular cloned coaster, especially in the SeaWorld chain, but for Six Flags, this is their only one, and I think it's great. There's many things I like about Superman. Firstly, it is butter smooth. Secondly, While the launches aren't powerful, they are fluid and fun. And finally, the time you spend out of your seat. There's great airtime when you go up the tower, and even better airtime when you descend the tower. Both moments being Strawn sideways ejector, just awesome. Then, the inversion in between that gives scary hang time. Remember, you just have a lap bar and a seatbelt for this entire experience. One reason I imagine SeaWorld loved it so much is because this ride does so much in such a little space, and I love it too. Number 2, Medusa. This is just a superb B&M Floorless coaster. They did absolutely everything right here, and on top of it, it is smooth as can be. It's tall, fast, feels like it goes on forever, and has 7 inversions. It's just such a complete experience. Discovery Kingdom's coaster lineup would be way worse if they didn't have Medusa there. I think this is one of the best inversion-focused roller coasters in the entire state of California. Admittedly, this ride's location in the park is pretty terrible. Hi parking lot, how you doing? We're right on top of you. But outside of that, this coaster is terrific. And outside of the setting, I think it does everything right you could ask for from a floorless coaster. Outside of maybe the lack of theming, I can't think of any problems with Medusa. It's just a fantastic ride, and it was really sad that due to timing and such, we only got one ride on it because it is just so fun. Can't recommend it enough, but it's not number 1 in the park. This park has a great 1-2 punch. Number 1, Joker. I mean, what else was it gonna be? Joker is absolutely superb. Like Medusa, I can't really think of any major problems with it. People say it's the weakest RMC, and while I can't really say if it's the weakest one or not, I can tell you it's a great ride. RMC is known for their airtime moments, and while there is a lot of that, there's also some great hang time moments. Joker's 3 upside down maneuvers are awesome, and the final 2 give loads of hang time. They're both so graceful as you just levitate out of your seat upside down for several seconds. Speaking of being out of your seat, this ride's airtime moments aren't the strongest, but there's a lot of them. This coaster doesn't have crazy life-threatening airtime like some of the other RMCs, but it's very solid airtime nonetheless. And I would like to think that I experienced the airtime at its fullest since I sat in the back row on both of my rides. As I said earlier, I really enjoyed this coaster's predecessor, Roar, but Joker is just so much better. RMC, hats off to you. Keep doing your thing.